LSU Odyssey is live. LSU Odyssey is live on one of the weirdest days in the last, I don't even know how long for me personally. Just a very, very strange day, but a day that continues to take different turns and different twists and turns as far as the LSU head coaching search. Um, you have, for the first time, I would say since the coaching search began, actual, real, credible evidence of the direction LSU are going in. Make no mistake, LSU are pursuing Lane Kiffin. And it's no surprise. I mean, big time favorite, of big time target of really anybody, any program looking for a head coach, obviously, in this market. But then you look at why he would work at LSU. You've got Austin Thomas, who worked with him at Ole Miss, Kelvin Bolden, who also worked with him at Ole Miss, two big parts of that staff. You've got Frank Wilson, who worked with him at Tennessee. You've got you've got a ton of connections with Lane Kiffin across this LSU staff, specifically the pieces that you want to retain. Um, I would say that, retaining Blake Baker is a big deal and a big must, because I think Blake Baker coaching a defense for Lane Kiffin, for a Lane Kiffin run offense at LSU, my God. Um, People can talk about Joe Sloan in a lot of negative ways, but one thing that we have to admit about Joe Sloan and give him credit for is he greatly raised the profile of LSU being able to recruit quarterbacks and get commitments from those quarterbacks, and he did fantastically. I mean, got right to the doorstep with the number one quarterback in the class with Bryce Underwood. If it was in any other day and age where, the same guy who props up the IDF's military as an American citizen, a foreign military, he is the number one donor to, the guy who buys this company, that company. If it's not for that guy, basically buying him from LSU's clutches, we're talking about Sloan also pulling in the number one quarterback. Colin Hurley was very well respected and highly touted coming out of his high school as well there in Florida. You have his development in the transfer portal capture of Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier, of course, staying on because of Joe Sloan. So, yes, Joe Sloan, with all of his faults as a play caller, the man could recruit quarterbacks, and he's raised that profile. And you give that establishment to Lane Kiffin, a man who is a proven quarterback guru. Man, we're talking about some really dangerous LSU teams that could finally, both sides of the football, really take it to opponents like they should. Because year in, year out, you're left wondering, God damn, like, you had Ojolari on the D line, you had this guy, you had Mekhi Wingo, you had Mason Smith, you had Harold Perkins. How come you're not getting the best out of these guys? And then on offense, you had all these guys, and then you didn't win a championship with Jaden Daniels in an offense that averaged over a first down a play. And now you think, okay, you retain Blake Baker, Frank Wilson on staff. To keep that man on staff is very important. Frank Wilson. You're going to have to say goodbye to Brad Davis. I think the proof is in the pudding. And then I think you're also going to have to move on from Cortez Hankton. And then you give Lane Kiffin the keys to the kingdom offensively, and you have possibly the most entertaining and exciting and aggressive football team in college football history when you're talking about Lane Kiffin as the play caller on offense, and then Blake Baker potentially, staying on as that defensive coordinator. There's a lot of head coaching buzz with Blake Baker, as there was last year, as there will be every year. But, Lane Kiffin is now firmly in the ring because we kind of got a little ahead of ourselves right there, didn't we? We have to give credit to exactly who broke this story. We could just say, Wilson Alexander, the advocate, but I think that's not really giving credit to who it's due. Let me make sure I get this name right, because I want to make sure I get this this dude's name right. There was a On3 Bengal Tiger message board guy who was literally at the airport tracking this plane going from Baton Rouge to Oxford, and he got photos of what was Lane Kiffin's family, which specifically his now current ex-wife, Layla Kiffin. Man, that song is just in my head. Layla Kiffin, man, boards LSU's private jet, comes to Baton Rouge for a tour. The schools, because Lane's got sons, he's got daughters, he's got growing family, and then the city, everything the city has to offer, but then especially specifically around campus, maybe U High. We're talking about all sorts of possibilities here for the Kiffin family if they are to make that move. And Layla Kiffin being sent is almost like a good undercover way of doing it. Like, oh, we can't send Lane, we'll send Layla. Maybe no one will pick up on it. Well, this guy from On3, All Things Go 22, that's his name. All Things Go 2022 literally got photos of Layla Kiffin, literally got proof of LSU's private jet being used to pick up Layla Kiffin from the airport from Mississippi to Baton Rouge. This is something that is accelerating very quickly. Wilson Alexander then confirmed that the plane landing in Baton Rouge brought the Kiffin family for this tour, and that Lane Kiffin is he is the man in the sights for LSU. Everyone was talking about Florida. The Florida media were pushing, drooling. Gotta get Kiffin, gotta get Kiffin. And things can change very quickly. Things can change very quickly in coaching searches. But it's very interesting how you had one, not only first off, all these Florida media guys pushing Kiffin to Florida before that game, during that game, even after the game, even up until today when we found out this news, pushing that narrative, right? At the same time, then you've got No3, this like parody account of On3 posting Kiffin agrees, 12-year, 140 million, some ridiculous number contract extension. The supposed fabled contract extension that's been sitting on the table in Oxford for all this time that Lane Kiffin has not signed for going on, I think, 2 months now. It's at least a month and a half, if not longer than that the contract extension has been on that table. And Lane Kiffin, for all that he said about how much he's loved Oxford, all that stuff, he has not signed it. Now, Ole Miss are going to do something dirty here, and I think Lane Kiffin understands what is coming, and this is why this is moving quicker than anyone anticipated, because you thought if they're going to get Lane Kiffin, LSU are going to have something in writing, something fixed, but it's going to come when Ole Miss's run is over, either in late December or early January, right? I don't think Ole Miss will go that deep, but they're going to at least have a chance to win a national championship, right? Something LSU does not have this year or has had since 2019. But Ole Miss has never had this opportunity in any way, shape, or form, and here they are. And they're going to most likely fire Lane Kiffin or do something to edge him out, force him out because of this, this knowledge that you're going to go to LSU. You're not going to be our head coach in 2026. Then screw you. I think that's crazy. I think that's nuts. Lane Kiffin, if he's willing to stay on there at Ole Miss and give them everything he has, no contact with the agent's doing their work, all that stuff in the background, but they're all in and you're winning. There's no distractions, and you actually have a chance to not be a doormat program like Ole Miss has become. I mean, I shouldn't say doormat, but for the longest time they were a true doormat, and then it's only been because of Lane Kiffin and money, and then like a few random years where they actually were able to compete. This is a season where they actually are able to do what they should have done last year. They failed it last year to compete for a national championship. And because of Kiffin and his, probably being honest with Ole Miss brass behind the scenes and saying, yeah, I'm going to go to LSU after the season. Everything is set up for me to be a success there. People I know, people I've worked with, people I've been successful with are there right now. Austin Thomas will get me exactly what I need. Exactly what I need. The Louisiana vibe and the mentality, the shit talk, the heat. Kiffin was born to wake up in that, scalding, boiling hot. And there's no better place for Lane Kiffin to go to win a national championship and to prove himself in the complete opposite way that Brian Kelly did coming here to LSU, where bloated contract, bloated person, bloated personality, inflated ego, all these things where it's like Lane at least has rings on his finger from being an assistant, and a very key assistant. Someone who made that machine tick, whether it was at USC or Alabama. And then head coach, he's at least got years of experience, and he's been shown to maximize everything that he's got, turning Matt Corral into a prospective first-round pick until he tears his ACL in a bowl game, in that Sugar Bowl. Literally, like, he can make any quarterback an absolute freak. Like, I mean, the guy is unbelievable what he does, maximizing the talent that is at his disposal. And that's the problem at LSU. You have had unbelievable talent there for years. And we're talking post 2019. That has just gone completely wasted. When you're talking about Harold Perkins, even Whit Weeks, he's not just a tackling machine. Finally, Blake Baker is really starting to understand how to use Whit Weeks in all of the ways, shapes, and forms he can be utilized, and you're seeing the success there. There's so many players across the spectrum who have either disappointed or come up short at LSU this year. You can even talk about all the receivers too. I think Xavier Thomas is probably the only receiver, Barryon Brown, who've really fulfilled the job for the entire season, actually made plays. Yes, there's been some terrible drops and things like that, but like, you take those type of weapons and you give them to a Lane Kiffin and put them in a Lane Kiffin offense, you're going to have some fireworks. And I think he could be successful in an offense with Michael Van Buren as his quarterback next year. That's how good he is at development. That is how good he is as a teacher at coaching the job, at coaching the position. And I think Michael Van Buren is kind of the perfect student to be molded. Well, Lane Kiffin, man. Pete Nakos from On3, a reporter I respect greatly, he said that Ole Miss is setting a deadline for Kiffin to sign his extension. And the original deadline, the first deadline that he had, this is the first ultimatum. that was actually just right after the Egg Bowl, and it's now been moved. Given him more time. It's been the time allotment to sign the extension has been extended, and Ole Miss is ready to say, hey, if you're going to try and go somewhere else, even if you don't like immediately take the job, if we know, if we can prove for a fact you're going to LSU, you're going to wherever, we're gonna fire your ass before the playoffs even start. That to me is nuts. That to me is crazy. We've got some inside information that I think is going to be very interesting for all of you to hear, because I hate to be like, oh, inside information, but this is really from the horse's mouth. There's a few sources that we actually have in and around the whole Kiffin situation, Kiffin placement, the location, the school that he currently coaches for. Who knows how long that will be for. We've got contacts in and around the Lane Kiffin orbit, and before this they were coy, but like it seemed like something could still happen with Lane Kiffin. It's not like it's not possible. They weren't shooting it down. And then they were laughing at the Saban rumors and kind of like stoking that up and stuff like that. But then when I asked some of these people today, is this happening? Because I've asked a few people that I haven't gotten a response from a couple that I'm really looking forward to what they have to say, because these people are especially close to Kiffin. And I don't want to talk to anyone who take the information of anyone who isn't at least right there in the belly of the beast, as far as either you're on the searching committee or you are known to be close in contact with Lane Kiffin and in the Kiffin orbit, as I should say. And I'm really interested to see what those people have to say, because yes, this is a fluid situation. We could be thinking, Kiffin's coming to LSU, Kiffin, and then things can change just like that. We've seen it before where Marcus Freeman seemed like he was going to be the LSU coach. Bam, blew up in LSU's face. Lincoln Riley, everyone thought he was going to be the head coach, and then instead it's Brian Kelly. That's a story that I got wrong. That's we really have only gotten a couple wrong in the time that we've done this, but man, people remember that one. And if they don't, we just reminded them. But whatever, it happened. Like I'm not gonna pretend that we the knower of all, the master of reality. Like people are gonna get stuff wrong. And whether they like to admit it to you or not, or just like to gaslight you about it, like we will at least admit that. And it's because we're trying to constantly seek the truth here. We're not. Anyone who listens to us, watches us, has heard us quote and like give credit to the original reporting of many different people, because that's just how it should be done. I feel like I'm not gonna like steal someone else's reporting and pretend it's my own. Like I think that's really gross. So great job from All Things Go 22 for getting the photographic evidence of this, of Kiffin, his wife, on a private plane. LSU's private plane, getting off that private plane in Baton Rouge for this tour. Now, things can still take some turns here. But the way this is setting up is beautiful, in my opinion. Like this could really be the start of something beautiful, as far as like a marriage. Like Lane Kiffin as LSU's head coach just sounds so perfect, especially if he comes in with the same hunger that he's attacked the Ole Miss job. That's a big deal, and things can change that. Christian Cowley, who is one of my favorite motherfucking people on the universe, man, in the universe. Christian, absolute badass. He is on Tingle and Company every day. Him, Lloyd, and then Boss Tingle, those guys are all kicking ass. Love their show, love what they do. Every day they've got a great show going. If you have not subscribed to Tingle and Company, definitely do it. I know some people were like, "Oh, it's not Jordy Collada." It's sad to see that Jordy step out of the game media-wise, because I love Jordy, but I actually love the direction that Lloyd and the Tingle and Christian have taken it in, because I don't know, I like the way he projects. I like the way he runs the show. And then Lloyd always has something great to say. And then Christian provides that comedic and then like realistic kind of balance. Like you never know what you're going to get from Christian line to line, what he's going to say. Like you love his takes on things. And so I just find it to be a very interesting listen. For me, I've got a lot of stuff to write. I've got a toddler to take care of. I got all this stuff. I got my own content to make. I have to make these type of things count. So like if you wanted to make it count, watch Tingle and Company, listen to them. And they've got my man Cordell. They've got Cordell's music as their intro, and it's freaking badass. Enough of my ranting, but Christian Cowley says it's hard not to think Austin Thomas is in on all of this. I love how you say that. I absolutely love AT. We actually interviewed AT back in 2020, 2021, something way back when he was one of his first, maybe his second stint. Yeah, his second stint when he was here. And he was one of the first LSU like staffers or coaches that ever interviewed with us on the record. And it was such a cool interview to do, and like getting to know him has been awesome. He's been through some stuff, man. Like that guy's fought some awesome battles. That guy is an inspiration, and he's an absolute leader. I absolutely love AT. I really don't want him to go anywhere. That guy, he's just a great dude. You want people like that at LSU for life. People like Austin, people like Frank Wilson. You want them at LSU for life. And obviously, in my opinion, I don't know this for a fact, but in my opinion, you would have Austin Thomas making the connections, making the bridge to Terabithia, if you will, to get Lane Kiffin, and trying to make that happen. I mean, why wouldn't you? Things did not go well with the Brian Kelly era. This is someone that Austin Thomas knows well. This is someone that Frank Wilson knows well. This is somebody that there's more than a few connections to Lane Kiffin on this staff. And I just think you bring him in, you keep Blake Baker, because I think that balance is very important. I think it's very important. You have a great play caller as far as like running game and quarterback play. So an offense that can control games, right? And Lane Kiffin, people think of him as like a almost like he runs like the air raid offense or something. And it's like, man, you don't know anything about Lane Kiffin. The guy loves to have offenses that can run it down your throat and control games. Like if he could run it every play on you, he would do it. Like that's how much he loves running the football. because he understands what kind of a platform it gives you as far as a play caller, as far as an offense. You know, as far as a quarterback, if you're able to run the ball and wear down the defense, people aren't going to pass rush you as hard. People aren't going to be able to get free runs on you. People are going to be exhausted. They're going to leave guys wide open in the flat. They're not going to be able to chase on the routes too easily. They're going to not be able to recover on the routes. So you can afford a little bit of an error and maybe still make the throw, still make the, get the scramble away from the guy and get 5 yards and out of bounds because you're able to run it on this defense and wear them the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? And so you really want to keep that balance, and LSU hasn't had that balance except for national championship seasons, and it's time to get that back. This is an offense that should perennially, the talent we've had over the last 6+ years, you look at it, specifically in this window where the quarterback play was at least the quarterback recruiting, the level of quarterbacks that you brought in so much higher than ever before at LSU. Some strong running backs who you didn't quite maximize or got injured, or John Emery Jr., for instance, a lot of things that got in his way of being great at LSU. So many things that just went sideways. So many weapons, so many great players at LSU that just went unfulfilled. Lane Kiffin can be the guy to maximize this. He's never had it perfect in his career. He's never, achieved every last single thing that, check mark that. Oh, he's perfect in this, perfect. But that's kind of why I think he's perfect for this job. Brian Kelly was always like, I'm Saban's second coming. But he didn't do anything to earn that title or really get any, do anything to really deserve that kind of reverence. Lane Kiffin, I don't think he's going to come in with that type of you got to show me some reverence. I think he's just going to come in ready to work and just let's go. And he's got his humor. He's always funny. He's always hilarious. He's a man of the people. He's not scared to be around people. And that's a perfect type of environment for him, being in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Wet Weeks, going out with his daughter. Man, I think Austin Thomas is definitely involved in a lot of this. He's probably doing the tour right now. And definitely Austin is someone we have been keeping in, contact with, and hopefully we can hear something back that'll be interesting regarding to this. Tari Love says, you're better than the rest of the reporters covering this. Why would you say that? What makes us better than the rest of them? I appreciate you saying that, Tari. I appreciate you, but Wilson Alexander, he's doing this as well. He's covering this type of stuff, and he's just gone through a really horrible loss that's unimaginable. He lost the love of his life, and here he is, hitting the ground running, beating the pavement, and really looking like he's going to be breaking some news here and coming up in the next little bit. And I'm just trying to say that there's guys who are definitely good in the media. But thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. We try to just keep it real. We try to just give you as much of the, not just the truth as we see it, but the harsh truth sometimes, the stuff we don't really want to hear, the stuff we don't really want to say, and the stuff that just sometimes has to be said. And so I really appreciate you guys for giving us the listens and tuning in and checking it out. Christian Callie says, thank you, Lon. Keep it up, GOAT. My man, Christian. My brother. Cheddar Goblin says, Lloyd is a Louisiana sex symbol. Taylor Baby says Blake has to figure out how to stop scrambling quarterbacks. I get it, but you're also without Whit Weeks in those games. Actually, Trinidad Chambliss did get us for some big plays. I take that back. You did have Witt for that game, but Witt was banged up. But still, there is no excuse for not having Perk as a spy. You saw LSU doing that the last few games, and it's worked beautifully. So it's hard for me to find an answer for why the hell that's continued, because it's obviously something that they know doesn't work, but they keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, make the same mistake over and over and over. Bo Flad says they were in Gainesville yesterday. Y'all aren't special. Okay. I mean, like, I get it. I get it. But man, Florida people are really what's the word here? Just coping? Is that what the kids say nowadays? Yeah. Coping hard, bro. Coping hard. Coping hard, bro. Because no one wants to go to Florida, and I got to be honest. If Lane Kiffin, bails on LSU for Florida, I will be like horrified. I'll be embarrassed. I'll be shocked. I'll be disgusted. I'll be horrified. I'll be sickened to my core. I'll be pregnant with rage. I will be overcome with some type of feral type of disease. Like Florida, my God. You want to go into that cesspool? I mean, that would be one of the dumbest moves Lane Kiffin could make for his career. Like, I cannot stress it enough. Like, not a smart move at all. I would love to see Lane Kiffin come to LSU. You keep Blake Baker. I think it's very important that you keep Blake Baker. But I've said that a few times. I am so sick of seeing LSU gain go 3 feet on the offense and then go back 10 feet on the defense every season, where it's like you go plus 10 on defense, but you go minus 15 on offense, like what happened this last year. I'm sick of seeing that. You need to keep guys around and keep some type of balance here between offense and defense. I'm so sick of having these unbalanced teams that aren't complete. And, Amon Anand, special teams, I don't think these issues are all on him, but he's an analyst who's been put in a special teams coach role. That's how, like, Brian Kelly didn't give a shit about special teams. That's how much he just didn't really consider special teams. So you might need to also have a new special teams coach as well, to add to the collection of massive changes about to sweep on through. Let's look at some more of these comments. Let's see. Taylor Baby says LSU better. Taylor Baby says, imagine Harlem Berry in Lane's system. Oh, I know, man. Oof. Those cuts. Those nasty cuts he was making the other night. Oh, my God, he was good. Because the news has gone so fast, and because we did a post-game show that we could only broadcast via Twitter, which is still there to see on our site at LSUODYSSEY.com. We got a bunch of you guys watching, so I think you guys saw it, but at least most of you. Harlem
had an incredible game. The Harlem Shuffle out there, baby. He was melting fools. You put him in Lane's system where offensive linemen aren't going to be tripping over each other. Offensive linemen aren't going to be doing this type of bullshit that was going on. I mean, what is going on with Brad Davis, man? I thought he was the best offensive line coach in the country. And it turns out maybe he was just the best offensive line recruiting coach. Because if I'm not mistaken, he was at Arkansas and kind of rose up there and then comes to LSU and was kind of under the purview of Pittman there. And then once he came to LSU, he immediately gets Campbell, immediately gets Jones, Dellinger, Miles Frazier. It took him almost It took him a loss against Florida State, playing Garrett Dellinger at center, to finally figure out maybe you should just play your center, Charles Turner. Maybe you should just play your center. Actually give your actual center a chance rather than a guy playing out of position. And almost like, is that how you see the position? Because then you also had DJ Chester, backed by nobody last year as your options at center. So Brad Davis got to go. But Lane will know exactly which direction to go in and who to bring in for his offensive line, his rushing concepts. And man, Harlem Berry, Caden Durham, even Caleb Jackson, if he somehow changes his mind and stays, which he's going to have an extra year for a redshirt. That's true. That's for sure. Maybe he will stay, but it doesn't look like that. But still, you're going to have some great options at running back. And in Lane's system, there's going to be a lot of great Louisiana running backs in that system. Bo Flad, apparently this Florida guy, says, with what? Trying to avoid paying Kelly the money? LSU, I guess he's replying to LSU better from this Taylor baby, says LSU better, and then Bo Flad, with what? Trying to avoid paying Kelly the money? That's like such a that's like a rated PG-13 reply, dude. Like, that's not, come on, you can do better than that. It's just not that good. Come on. Rustastic says LSU doesn't want Lane Kiffin. He doesn't want LSU either. He is doing his typical Lane tricks in order to achieve his typical Lane selfishness. LSU absolutely, in all caps, does not want this drama. Then why are they sending him a private plane? Why is his ex-wife, going on this private plane just for a smokescreen to then go to a dump like Florida? Maybe if they're giving him like $300 million or some insane King's Ranch, I come on, like, everything is set up for Lane Kiffin to be a success at LSU. If he doesn't take this opportunity, I'm just going to say right here, if Lane Kiffin goes to Florida, if Lane Kiffin goes anywhere else, and he ignores this opportunity here at LSU with a bunch of guys that he's coached alongside with on the staff too, ready-made success here with maybe some guys coming back, like what weeks, maybe Harold Perkins coming back, maybe some of these receivers in certain areas coming back. Tradez Green, a weapon like that with this offense. Caden Durham, Harlem Berry, who broke out. You've got weapons all over the place that are just waiting to be molded by a guy like this who can maximize the talent that a state like Louisiana produces. And man, if he ignores this opportunity in front of him, it's going to be the biggest regret of his coaching career, times like 100, because he knows this. He cannot deny this, and he's already going to get paid a ton of money at LSU. He's already going to get paid a ton, a bucket, a yacht full of money at LSU. He doesn't need to accept more to go someplace like Florida where, my God, what a task that'll be. to try and repair that absolute dumpster fire. Oh my God. Tari Love says, because you all are authentic. Thank you. Thank you, Tari. I appreciate that. That really means a lot to me, because that's what we try and do, is tell you how we feel, how we see it, how we have how we got the information. If we can divulge the sources, usually we don't, but if someone goes on the record, we gladly do that. We don't want it to be shady or shadowy. We want to pursue the truth along with you. We're on this ride together. Rustastic says Florida deserves everything that Lane will dump all over them. They'll succeed for a minute, and then he'll start flirting with other programs, and the divorce will be ugly. They deserve each other. I can't tell if you're a jilted Ole Miss fan, but or what is going on here, but we could see that. We could see Lane, but I mean, like, if he goes to Florida, then the only school he's going to be flirting with to go anywhere is LSU. I mean, this is really the place for him. He doesn't want to go back to Alabama. Georgia isn't, available. Kirby Smart's got that on lockdown. Maybe Clemson. I just there's only so many places I think Lane Kiffin is really interested in going. And I think just because he has an affinity for vacationing in Destin and some of his time there at Florida Atlantic doesn't mean that he's going to take over that job at the Swamp, where it really is like, it's not like a swamp. It's like entering a humid 114 degree porta potty and then having like an earthquake hit right then, and then your phone falls into the shit, and then you go into this shit right after. That is what coaching at Florida in 2025/2026 to rebuild that diarrhea mess would be. That's what that would be. Cheddar Goblin says, I feel like Baker will take the Tulane job. Well, if John Summerall goes and that opens up, that could be a huge possibility. Because I think Blake Baker doesn't see himself as like a number 2 to a Lane Kiffin. I don't think he'd be down with that unless it was like a 1 year like push for a title, get the title, and then we're out of here type of thing. Like that, I could see that. So maybe I could see Baker stay for a year or something, but this job is only going to be open for this moment, this window. And sadly, I hate to say this, but I do see him taking the job. Even though Billy Embody reported that last year and it didn't happen, his report may have been a year and a half like early. Kyle Mitchell says, who the hell would go to that hellhole in Baton Rouge? Armpit of the damn world. Huh. Obviously someone who's from Oxford or something. Russ Tajic says, Virginia Tech just took a giant leap forward with their coaching selection. You honestly think that James Franklin is a giant leap forward? You really, like, you're going to tell me that James Franklin is like a college football innovator? He's a college football genius. He's going to take Virginia Tech to another dimension or something? Like James Franklin is this great college football coach? Come on, man. Like, I get it. James Franklin rebuilt, pedophile state after they, had all that. They really should have never been able to play college football again. What they did and what they covered up, what Joe Paterno covered up. They should have never been allowed to play college football there again. Let's just be real about it. They should have never been allowed to play college football on that campus again. What that program absolutely hid the monster they hired, the monster they allowed to molest hundreds of children, and the monster they stayed silent about for decades. Unbelievable that Penn State even has a program. But James Franklin, you know, he's basically Diet Brian Kelly. And that means that he's the Brian Kelly that tastes better and isn't as much of an asshole, but still gives you that 9-3, 10-2 every once in a while type of push. Cheddar Goblin says, Baton Rouge a hellhole. Have you ever been to Alexandria? Let's see here. Rustastic is actually a jilted Tennessee fan, guys. He's actually a Tennessee fan. He says Lane is never happy and his history shows it. Maybe this is the place, It seems like it's the right type of vibe, the right type of people, the right type of environment. It's in the South, place, area he's comfortable. Championship competition year in, year out. But LSU fans aren't as entitled as Alabama fans, where it's like, you don't win a national championship every single year, we're going to cut your nuts off and put it on a roasted fire. Like, he's going to actually have an opportunity here to build something. And I think LSU fans will like Lane Kiffin and his personality a hell of a lot more than they like Brian Kelly's. And I think, Tennessee fans can look back and say how much they hated Kiffin, or USC fans can say that, or the Raiders fans can say they hate Kiffin, or wherever Kiffin's been, they can say they hate Kiffin. When he was there, you loved him. Let's be real about that. You cannot respond to me and deny that. When he was there, you loved his ass. And the other places he was at, why did he go? Because of ego clashes. Him versus Al Davis in Oakland. There's always been Saban, Alabama. Everything was going smoothly there. Him as the OC winning championship. And then he's booted before the national title game because he was flirting with head coaching opportunities and interviews and jobs and stuff. And it wasn't distracting him, but boom, you're gone. And Alabama lost the national championship probably because of that decision. But Kiffin, I wouldn't say he hasn't been happy anywhere he's been. He's been unsettled. He's had moments where things just haven't gone his way. He would have left Oxford 2 or 3 years ago if that was the case. It's not like he didn't have the offers right after the season where Matt Corral takes him to a Sugar Bowl. He had the offers then. He didn't go anywhere. So I think that kind of defeats what you're saying, in my opinion. I think the point I just brought up defeats the point you're making, is that he's never happy. I think he is happy at Oxford and Ole Miss, but he knows there's a shelf life there. He knows resources wise, roster wise, etc. upon etc. LSU is a major step up, and it's a program that will get you to that ultimate stage. I mean, he is the type of guy that's going to take advantage of the opportunities that a guy like Brian Kelly just was never going to. Was too lazy, too entitled, too stuffy, too politician to take advantage of these things. Lane Kiffin's the type of guy who can get this fan base going. He can get this fan base whooped up. I really do believe that. And if LSU fails, if LSU somehow hires Lane Kiffin and still fails, then you might as well just shut the program down, because you've now gotten every extreme of coach and something is just rotten at the core here. I don't think that's the case. I think there's actually been a lot of great players at LSU over the last 5 years that people don't even, you know, think about, who are maybe dominant in the NFL. Maybe they're not, but they had an awesome array of skill sets that were not taken advantage of or maybe even utilized at LSU. And Lane Kiffin is the type of coach that can maximize those type of players. And LSU usually has a roster upon roster full of those type of guys. Rick Cloyto with an important, Rick Cloyto with an important question. He says, if Kiffin is landed, does he bring his DC with him? Oh my God, this is something I was thinking about, and I was like, oh no. Good question, Rick. I hope not, because Pete Golding would be that man, and I think it's more likely than keeping Blake Baker. Pete Golding coming back to Hammond, Louisiana native, but him coming back to Louisiana, I think that's a possibility. I mean, thank you guys all for commenting. There's so many of you guys in the chat right now. So many of you guys commenting. This is a great party we got going here. If Kiffin comes to LSU, I think there is every opportunity for national championships at LSU, and probably a lot quicker than many would expect. This is a guy who can really maximize who he's got at his disposal. LSU, if you can even retain, and I think you won't have too much of a problem retaining these guys on roster if you can get Lane Kiffin and you get him in before the window opens and everything is settled. I think you're going to have no problem keeping a lot of these guys. Not just keeping guys out of the draft, but keeping guys out of the portal who've got like 3-4 years of eligibility, who are like, see ya. I was only here for 6 months. Bye. I think Lane Kiffin is the type of guy that can overturn something like that recruiting wise. You get Lane Kiffin, Frank Wilson, Austin Thomas, Sam Petito, either Blake Baker or Pete Golding as your defensive coordinator. I don't like the Pete Golding idea, though. Don't like that idea. You get someone viable in its special teams. I don't know what you do with Kyle Williams, the defensive line coach, because I think it's hard to tell just what type of effect he had on the defensive line this season. The defensive line played pretty damn well for a lot of stretches. I didn't really see anything that was like a glaring, like, oh, rookie coach mistake. I think Kyle Williams held his own pretty well. Obviously, you keep Corey Raymond. Jake Olson likely going to follow Blake Baker if he goes. Kevin Peoples, that's someone you have to keep that man. Do whatever it takes to not let him leave with Blake Baker if Blake Baker leaves. Because that's another guy who's attached to Blake Baker's hip and how he runs a defense. It just works perfectly with what Kevin Peoples wants to do. I think you got to keep Kevin Peoples. He's someone awesome that you got to have on staff who really is fantastic at taking these edge rushers to the next level. This year, maybe the stats don't blow up looking at isolated stats, but as a team, the sack numbers have been drastically higher. But you've got the pieces here for a strong staff, backroom and on the sidelines. You've got all these pieces for something special here if Lane Kiffin is to sign on the dotted line. And that's things aren't 100% right now. But things are headed in that direction, where Lane Kiffin is the main target. and it looks like LSU. It's like Lane Kiffin or bust. I I think it's great that LSU is not waiting for Kiffin. They're taking their shot now. And if Ole Miss is going to do him dirty and not let him coach a playoff game with the team that he finally got you guys to a playoff game, and you're going to boot him, like, come on, that's nasty. It's nasty stuff. Then you really got to take your shot now and try and secure this guy. Because I think either you hope that maybe Nick Saban has a few years left in him and he's got all this hunger and energy and he wants to finish LSU, the job that he started, something like that. A couple years, not a lot of money, like, enough money, but you're not breaking the bank. And Saban comes in and he's either that dream scenario, which is looking to be more of a pipe dream at this point, or you get Lane Kiffin. And really, people could throw out other names, people could throw out other candidates, but it never really felt like anyone else was suited for this job other than Lane Kiffin. I mean, Brian Kelly, he failed at LSU for all these reasons. The complete antithesis of every one of those reasons, that's Lane Kiffin. Brian Kelly, elitist as hell. Lane Kiffin, man of the people. Brian Kelly, never been on a championship staff. Lane Kiffin is basically growing up coaching on championship staffs, coaching around the best of the best. The Matt Leinerts of the world, the Reggie Bushes of the world, hanging out with Coach O on staff, Pete Carroll, coaching in the NFL before he was out of his diapers, before his balls had dropped. Like, that's Lane Kiffin. In a way, he was meant for this job, for the LSU job, because he is intense. He is aggressive. He could be downright mean-spirited when someone is an obstacle, when someone is shitting on him, disrespecting him. He will give it right back. And that's what LSU fans love. They don't want a hothead as a coach. They don't want just some chicken with a head cut off type of bullshit. They want a sultan, a pimp. They want a mercenary, a badass as their head coach. Someone who's not going to hide behind the CEO tag and let everyone else, that was their job, I'm going to blame everyone else. They want someone who's going to be running out there, hungry every day to be a national championship program. Because that's the mountain Lane Kiffin has not climbed. But the fact that he does have championship rings as an assistant, I think that qualifies as like championship pedigree in some ways as well. And it shows that he knows the blueprint and how it can be done. One second, everybody. So that's basically the news that we've got so far, is that this tour is happening, that Lane Kiffin could possibly be the coach of LSU. Layla Kiffin is taking a private plane to Baton Rouge, and she is now undergoing a tour of the city. Where that's going to go, where that's going to take us, we'll see. But as many people are saying, oh, it's a no-brainer, he's got to stay at Ole Miss. Oh, it's a no-brainer, he's got to go here. It's always been LSU as the move. It really, I mean, it makes no sense for Lane Kiffin to stay at Oxford at this point, unless that's really where his heart is. But when you're talking about your heart is somewhere where they're going to give you an ultimatum and not let you coach the championship potential team, the championship competing team that you created, their first, they're not going to let you coach that team and maybe go and try to win a championship. They're going to take that opportunity from you. That doesn't sound like the future. That sounds like the past. You know what I'm saying? And don't I know that from some events from today where there's just a lot of throat slicing going on in today's world, and you know things like that happen where you get the rug pulled out from under you. But here's the thing: as long as you know where you're going, you know what you're about, you know what you believe in, you know who you are, no one's gonna get in your way. No one's gonna stop you. No one's gonna tell you where to go or what to do or how to do it. And that's what I want to leave you guys with tonight. Everybody, this has been LSUODYSSEY.com, LSU Odyssey Live. Check out LSUOdyssey.com, subscribe. The subscription, I'm just going to be honest with you. We try to give as much subscription, like exclusive, sorry, excuse me, subscriber exclusive stuff as we can. And we're going to have to do a lot more of that because money is just going to be extremely tight coming up here. We're going to have to maybe make a lot more things subscriber only. But we have tried to make it as free as possible, as free as we possibly can. We try to also reward the subscribers at the same time. But usually what I feel like you're getting with the subscriber, with what you pay as a subscriber, is basically a patronage. You're helping us, support us to keep going, to keep doing this, because to keep our Wix site is over $800 a year. I mean, it's ridiculous. To keep our StreamYard going, it's now $50 something a month. To keep the Fubo going, to watch the games, almost $100 a month, something like that. We've cut costs. We've cut back on so many different things. We've even watched games off of YouTube for like the last month. We've done all sorts of things to really like make sure that this can make financial sense, that we can keep doing this financially. But if you can, any help through that LSUOdyssey.com subscribe thing, it's not that like, yeah, we're on 3 and we can promise that we're going to break 30 news stories today. We're only a staff of 1. Sadly, we can't really guarantee, what the events of the day are going to unfold. But we're going to give you as much news as we possibly can handle and possibly can cover. And we've proven that over a period of years. Take the word of any of our longtime subscribers, especially a guy like Sweet Lou, especially Jamer. There's some of these people who've been subscribers for a long time, and they've seen our ups, seen our downs, but I think they've seen over the most of it that we've tried to really do this the right way. Even we've had mistakes. We've had trouble setting up sites in the best way. We're not a web designer, but we try to do it in the best way that we can. And I think we can only get better from here. And I think we really are feeling some type of buzz about this. Like, if LSU goes in this direction where they hire a guy like Lane Kiffin, the excitement is going to be out of control. It's going to be out of control if LSU hires Lane Kiffin, because everyone on the corner, on the edge of the block, from state to state, from neighborhood to neighborhood, from country to country, from conference to conference, everyone is going to know and feel that Lane Kiffin is now on the block to be that next dynasty. Lane Kiffin and LSU are on the block to be that next dynasty in college football. Man, it is all too perfect, and it is all too set up here to be successful for LSU and Lane Kiffin if things take their natural course as we believe they will. Everybody, check out the LaRon Landry interview we did the other night. We got that there on the YouTube channel. It was absolutely one of the craziest things, the craziest conversations, and just an incredible time with LaRon Landry. We are going to do a sequel to that as well. Tomorrow we're also going to be doing something on Michael Van Buren, where we go deep on Michael Van Buren and kind of give him the shine he deserves and kind of discuss, is he the quarterback for the future for LSU, Michael Van Buren? Is he the guy? Is this Michael Van Buren's team in 2026, whether that's Kiffin or whoever comes in as coach? Absolutely love all of you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us and giving us the encouragement to pursue this and try and do this the best that we can. And we want to do this for a living. And right now we're kind of at a crossroads where we our let's just put it this way, our ability to earn a living has been threatened greatly. And so it's an opportunity, and that's how I'm going to see it. We have a baby girl coming, and it's time to get to work. Time to get to work, baby. LSU Odyssey live. Hopefully all of you have an amazing night. Cuddle up with your people. Eat some good food. And have an awesome night. We'll be talking to you guys soon. Go Tigers, everybody. Love to all of you.